Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. I received a long mail from a manager in a company who was recently laid off because of this downturn. And the email ended with a sentence or a question that what should I do? What do I do next? Now, there are lots of experts who are talking about it. So I'm not going to give the same advice. I think you have to polish your resume, you have to apply, do what you have to do. But in this video, I want to talk about something that we often ignore. Uh, that when we lose a job, it's a very devastating experience. And we don't realize that these experiences, if not handled well, can have long term impact on our lives and our career. And I'm not going to focus on somebody getting fired or losing career when they have done something unethical or wrong. That's a very different concept. Imagine that you are working in a company and heavens forbid the company is not doing too well and they are leaving employees. It's a very crushing thing to do, but you are one of them, the unfortunate people who've been asked to go. This video is dedicated to you. But first of all, I'm very heartbroken of what's happening, and I'd like to let you know that I understand what you're going through. I've gone through three or four downturns. In the second downturn, my job was also in danger. I was in a company at that time. Luckily, I survived because I had some very good support systems in those companies. But I had many friends who were not as lucky as I was, and they lost their jobs, and it was quite devastating. When you are a very capable person and for no fault of yours, you're suddenly asked to leave, बहुत गुस्सा आता है. And these emotions, which I would categorize as three major buckets. The first is a lot of anger, jhallahat, frustration, bitterness comes out. And you're angry at the system. You might be angry at your boss, and you might be angry at your CEO and the sector, and many more things. And that bitterness and anger can kill you, can literally hollow your thought processes. So please be aware of your emotions. The first of them is anger. The second is many of you would have a monthly bill to pay, maybe an EMI, maybe education, children, spouse, dependents, and things are hard. The inflation is going up. So it's a double whammy. The inflation is going up, no steady source of income, and that's where you may experience a serious anxiety that पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, कैसे bill pay करूँगा. And this is the time our minds push us towards brink of nervous breakdowns because of the fear and anxiety कि पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे, भूखे मर जाएंगे. And I know how hard it is. It is very, very devastating for a person to not know where the next paycheck come and know very well that the bills are not going away. So it's a very, very hard time. So this emotion of anxiety and fear, please be aware of it because it can devastate your thought process. And the last is, एक हिंदी में कहावत है कि दूध का जला छाछ को भी फूक फूक के पीता है, which means that now that you have been asked to go and you have experienced rejection and failure, this emotion might impact your ability to take risks, which is very bad for you. You may not take risks anymore. You might settle for something less challenging because your decisions are now about making yourself secure. क्योंकि एक बार थोड़ा risk ले लिया और गलती हो गई and the company would have shut down and now you would want a job कि यार ज़्यादा challenging job नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को तो steady income चाहिए. And that's bad. I mean, to have a steady income would mean compromising on jobs which you can do. It might be risky, but then that's where innovation comes in. So your whole idea of innovation, critical thinking might be severely impacted because of this emotion, which is fear of failure. So please remember that your anger, bitterness, your anxiety and fears, and your ability to take challenges can be severely impacted because of these emotions, which are not good for you. So, whatever you do, please make sure that your emotions are dealt with. You talk to someone about them and let them come out. The second important request for all of you is that all these things can also impact your confidence and self-esteem. You might end up in a guilt trip, a vicious cycle. Please tell yourself it's not your fault. I mean, economy downturn is a macro issue. Various other issues, they are not in your control. And this is a very good time for you to calibrate your thought process कि अच्छे दिन बुरे दिन तो आते रहेंगे. You have to now uh, find that sweet spot where you re-architect your career. So the second important thing I'd like to talk to you about is that you may have been unfortunate in losing a job, but this is a very good time for you to re-architect your finances and re-architect your career. First of all, look at your bills and see if you can minimize them. I mean, when I went through a downturn, I called up my parents and took help. And they, sweethearts, my parents gave me my help. My house loan was, little bit of it was left, so they took care of it. And I don't believe I'm a self-made man. And I completely depended on my parents and my spouse at that time. And all of you who have this machoism in you कि मैं तो अपने हाथ की लकीर खुद बनाऊंगा, ये डायलॉग मूवी में ही अच्छा लगता है. एंड देयर इज नो हार्म इन आस्किंग फॉर हेल्प व्हेन यू नीड इट. एंड दिस इज द टाइम व्हेन इफ यू हैव मोर बिल्स, अगर आप लोगों ने बहुत खर्चे उठा लिए हैं और सैलरी नहीं है, री-आर्किटेक्ट योर फाइनेंसेस. प्लीज रिड्यूस योर लोन्स. And if there is a house loan, see, find a way to foreclose it or do something to reduce your monthly burn. So that is a very big financial architecture you must do with your lives. Because चलो मान लो 6 महीने बाद आपको अच्छी जॉब मिल गई, you'll again start spending more, और again downturn आएगा तो फिर you'll end up in the same problem. तो learn from your mistakes. I think one of the things we human beings haven't learned is we really don't learn from history. हम लोग आज भी वही मिस्टेक बार बार करते हैं. लालच में बहुत ज़्यादा खर्चा शुरू कर देते हैं, and then when the downturn comes, we are unable to deal with it. So balance it out, financially architect your life, stabilize your expenses, see if you can offset something, and make sure that the monthly burn is reduced. And the last is, this is also a good time for you to re-architect your career. This is a good time for you to reinvest in your skills, hone them. I can tell you that इस दुनिया में अच्छे टैलेंट की बहुत ज़रूरत है, अच्छे लोगों की बहुत ज़रूरत है. And there are many companies who may be going down, but many companies will come up. तो वो होता है ना कि एक उगता सूरज किसी दिन ढल भी जाता है, बट अगले दिन उग भी जाता है. So just wait it out, invest in your talent, just be patient a little bit, do what you have to do, make your resume go wherever it can. Though I must request you कि बिना जान पहचान के लोगों को LinkedIn पे messages मत लिखो. It doesn't look good. I mean, it's very unprofessional. एक कहीं से email आ गया, here's my resume, please give me a job. Apply basics of communication and professionalism. You must network with people regardless of recession or good times. And networking is an art, so keep networking, but don't network only for a job. बार बार कि ये मेरा resume है, job दे दो, is not a good idea. I think you must establish relationships or invest more in your skills, invest in relationships, because this is the time these relationships and these skills will help you. And if you feel that you can work with a good startup or a small company where you can get less money, but you are able to apply your challenges and re-architect your career, this is a good time, because you need the job and the cash flow. And this might be a good idea for you, the right kick that you needed to get your career and life in the right direction. So I feel that while it is a very devastating time for you, which can impact your self-esteem, confidence, and overall identity, but if you let those emotions come out and you deal with them and close them properly, the path of recovery is very beautiful. I'm very hopeful that this uh, unfortunate episode could be the right episode of your life to get you in the right track. And I am fairly confident that if you apply these suggestions and talk to people who can help you, your careers and your life would be in a better shape regardless of uptowns and downturns. And in that area, I'd like to summarize the three messages: that get your emotions right, be aware of them. Second is, please make sure that your financial architecture of your life is done properly. And the last is, course correct your career and see if you can get a job which is much more challenging, gives you joy, takes care of your bills, and you ride this downturn with patience. क्योंकि there is no other solution. ये patience तो हमको learn करना पड़ेगा. And time will improve, but you have to stick it out. You have to ride this turbulent time, and it's going to be very difficult, but it's not impossible. तो ये आप सीख लीजिए डाउनटर्न डील करने वाला चैप्टर ऑफ लाइफ. अगले 25 30 50 सालों में 10 15 और डाउनटर्न भी आएंगे. And you have to just become more balanced to stick it out, be patient, deal with your emotions, strengthen your confidence and self-esteem so that you are able to deal with them better. Stay safe.